Hey, here we are on day 20, and I'm so happy to talk about this. One of my favorite parts of psychic development. And that's really understanding signs, omens, and synchronicities. So, as we open up to our psychic abilities, it can be really helpful to receive validation of our psychic experiences through signs and omens. So I really want you to start paying attention to that as we open up to this. It can act as a confirmation that your psychic impression was right on the money and help you increase confidence in your own psychic skills a lot. Especially when we start working with spirit guides. So if you're a person that's already getting information from your spirit guides, whenever you meet a new guide, ask your guide to sort of prove. Let's say you're doing a meditation and all of a sudden Archangel Michael shows up and you're like, wow, it's Archangel Michael, cool. And you've got an experience, you're feeling, sensing, you're having some kind of personal experience or knowing that that's what it is. That's fantastic. And I want you to ask Archangel Michael or whoever it is to provide you with a sign that they're for real. Sometimes you can ask for specific things, and sometimes you can, you'll just be like, all right, show me a sign that you are who you say you are. And then we have to begin to watch the world around us for these signs. They are actually happening all the time, all the way around us, all the time. Um, and I feel like they're just sort of those signposts, like those breadcrumbs along the way. When I know when I'm going in the right direction, signs and omens are everywhere. Like the lights turn green, the hawk flies, down and nearly lands on your lap. The world like becomes sort of very magical. And when I'm not going in the right direction, it's like all the blocks, show up there. So I know like signposts are, and um, it's just so exciting. But we have to train ourselves to pay attention to them, really. Because they can, if we're not paying attention, remember how I wanted to call my book "Pay Attention." When we're not paying attention, they just will pass us by, and we're like la la la, and we don't even notice. So, we need to pay attention to that. So, signs are literally like signposts that show us on your path. It can be anything from like pennies left for you from your dearly departed, feathers, repeating numbers from your angels. One of my friends sees like little heart-shaped rocks everywhere she goes. Magical happenings from the natural world. Omens are a little different. Omens are like harbingers of major changes that are coming our way. Omens are like impending birth, death, or larger shifts that happen on a global scale. And omens can be for good or for bad. I mean, I don't know if they're really bad. We say things are a bad omen, right? But sometimes they're a little heads up that something's coming down the road towards us, that we need to pay attention to. The other thing that somebody asked me just yesterday, which I thought was a great question, was how do we tell the difference between a real sign and omen and just a plain old coincidence or just something ordinary happening in your life? For me, those signs and omens really have a different feeling to them. They feel kind of magical. They feel significant and sort of out of the ordinary. For example, you could have a yard full of squirrels like I do because I put bird food out and my yard is full of squirrels all the time. But that's just ordinary life happening. But if you go outside and the squirrel like drops an acorn on your head or is, sitting on your car and giving you the eye, like if the squirrels start doing magical things that are out of the ordinary, then you're going to pay attention. So there's this non-ordinary feeling that signs have that we have to attune to that and be like, okay, there's a heads up here. Maybe you get those tingles, you get those body sensations that show you something like heads up, something going on here. And in for our journal experience, I want you to just start journaling about what kind of signs you experience. Maybe you're getting repeating numbers. If you are strongly connected to the angelic realm and you have a lot of angels around you, you're going to see repeating numbers. 11 on the clock every day, 222, 333, those double numbers, repeating numbers tend to come from the angelics. Whereas if you're getting a message from like a departed relative, you might see number sequences that represent a date, an anniversary, birthday, death days, those kinds of things. So let's get in your journal right now and write down, do you have number sequences that have meanings for you? If you do, list them in your journal. Like, gosh, I always see this number. Well, I want to know what it is and what that means to you. And next time you find it and it feels really significant, come back to this place and record it. Maybe you're more of a person who gets weather. That's what I get, weather and animals. It's a kind of omen called augury. It's super cool. So many people see signs in the weather. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Like people look up into the clouds and see angels or faces or significance in clouds. It can be anything from that clap of thunder to a subtle gust of wind or a rainbow, right? Um, if that's true for you, I want you to write down like what aspects of the weather speak to you. Record that in your journal and maybe talk about one thing that really happened, like that rainbow appeared just when you needed some hope or something. You said something really declarative and a bolt of lightning, landed, right? So, and if it happens again, document it. I want you to write it down because when you write it down, you're going to get more and more of it. Maybe it's wildlife. This is a big one for me. Hawks, crows, any type of wildlife. If you have a strong connection to a particular power animal, and if you do, they're going to send you signs. Lots of people see hawks. I know when I see a hawk, especially a hawk doing something kind of strange, which they often do around me, that like when I go outside, just the other day, I went outside, there was a hawk sitting on the top of my car. It's little claws on and they're huge. They're so big. They're so much bigger than you think. And it was looking at me and I was like, oh boy. Because to me, when that happened, something big is happening when that I haven't figured it out yet. I'll let you know. So, did you have an animal that you were crazy about when you were a child, even a mystical animal like unicorns? Because oftentimes these animals don't show up in you might not see the unicorn walk through your yard, although if you do, that's so cool. But sometimes we see them in our dreams, or we see them like in a painting or on TV, something like that. They can show up in a lot of different ways. Um, what was the animal that you feel the most connected to? And are you a person like, the cardinal represents, a visit, cardinal or butterfly, dragonfly represents a visit from a loved one? I want you to write that down in your journal as well. So, yeah, and if there's any more, like what really is it? Is it music that plays on the radio, or you walk into a store and they're playing some song that's really meaningful? Is it, for me, a big one of my signs that somebody, if different people tell me the same thing 3 times, I always really pay attention. Oh, you should read this book. Oh, you should read this book. Or you should read this book. I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm gonna get the book. So important to know what yours are. Put them in your journal. Next time we're going to talk about dreams and how to connect more deeply. See you then.